Why do we worry? Letting go of anxiety through Buddhism. Have you ever laid awake at night, eyes wide open? Heart racing, wondering what tomorrow might bring? You stare at the ceiling, bills to pay, deadlines to meet, people to please, and that voice in your head won't stop whispering, what if everything falls apart? Worry, that familiar, gnawing tension in your chest, it starts small, like a breeze brushing through the leaves of your mind, but before you know it, it grows into a storm of what-ifs, should-haves, could-happens, and can't-controls. We worry about our future, our health, our children, our reputation. We worry about losing what we have, or never getting what we want. But have you ever stopped to ask, why? Why do we worry so much? We live in a world of abundance, connection, and comfort, and yet, anxiety is higher than ever. We chase stability and control, but deep down, we feel like we're walking on thin ice. Here's the truth: worry isn't just about our problems, it's about our relationship to life itself. In Buddhism, worry is not a random emotion, it is a signal, a symptom of a mind trapped in clinging, fear, and illusion. So today, we're not here to offer a quick fix, no 5-step hack, no trendy affirmation. Instead, we're going to dive deeper into the heart of what worry really is. We'll look through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, a perspective that has helped millions transform their anxiety into peace. In the chapters ahead, you'll discover how ancient teachings can shed light on your modern mind. You'll meet stories of people who've walked through the fire of fear and found freedom on the other side. So take a breath, a real one, inhale, exhale. This isn't just another video about anxiety. This is about awakening from it. Let us begin this journey with the most important question of all: what are we really afraid of? So what are we really afraid of? It's not always the obvious things, not just losing a job, failing an exam, getting sick, or saying the wrong thing. Those are just the surface ripples. If you look more closely, beneath every anxious thought, there's something deeper. Something older. It's the fear of losing control, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being forgotten, unloved, unwanted. Sometimes we're not even afraid of what might happen, we're afraid of how we might feel if it happens. That unbearable tightness in the chest, that sinking feeling in the stomach, that silent scream in the mind that says, I can't handle this. And so, the mind creates endless stories. What if I mess up? What if they leave me? What if I'm not good enough? In Buddhism, this restless cycle of worry has a name: dukkha, often translated as suffering, but more accurately, an underlying dissatisfaction with life as it is. Dukkha is like a splinter in the heart, a feeling that something is always slightly off, slightly unstable, slightly out of reach. And where does this come from? From our craving, tanha. From our deep attachment to how things should be, from our desperate need for security, for permanence. In a world that is forever changing, we think, if I can just plan enough, prepare enough, succeed enough, maybe then I'll feel safe. But the more we chase certainty, the more fragile we become, because life was never meant to be controlled. We fear loss because we cling, we fear change because we resist, we fear the unknown because we have forgotten how to trust the unfolding of life. And underneath all of it is the illusion of a solid, permanent self that must be protected at all costs. But what if that's the very illusion keeping us anxious? What if the key to peace is not in fixing the outside world, but in changing the way we see it? This brings us to a revolutionary perspective, one that lies at the heart of Buddhist wisdom, the Four Noble Truths. Imagine you are walking through a dense forest. It's foggy, you can't see clearly, you hear strange sounds around you, every shadow feels like danger, your heart races, you feel lost. Now, imagine the fog begins to lift, the light breaks through, the trees look the same, but suddenly, you're no longer afraid, because now, you see clearly. This is what the Buddha offered the world: not just comfort, but clarity, not just hope, but insight. When Siddhartha Gautama, after years of spiritual seeking, sat beneath the Bodhi tree and awakened, he didn't teach people how to escape life, he taught them how to see it as it really is. And at the very heart of that vision are the Four Noble Truths, a timeless psychological map that explains why we suffer and how we can be free. Let's walk through them together, not as abstract ideas, but as living truths inside you. The first noble truth, dukkha, there is suffering. Life is not always smooth. We experience pain, disappointment, anxiety, aging, loss. Even in our happiest moments, there's a whisper, this won't last. Dukkha doesn't mean life is all misery, but that it is unreliable. Things change, people leave, bodies grow old, plans fall apart. When we expect permanence from an impermanent world, we suffer. The second noble truth, samadaya, the cause of suffering is craving. We don't just suffer because things happen, we suffer because we cling, we grasp, we resist, we demand life fit our expectations. Craving comes in many forms: desire for success, fear of failure, attachment to praise, aversion to criticism. And the more we want reality to be different, the more we feel anxious, angry, or afraid. The third noble truth, nirodha, the end of suffering is possible. This is the most radical, hopeful truth of all. Freedom is possible. When craving ceases, suffering fades. When we let go, truly let go, peace arises, not by escaping life, but by embracing it fully, without clinging. The fourth noble truth, magga, there is a path. The Buddha didn't stop at diagnosis, he gave us a treatment, a step-by-step path called the Noble Eightfold Path, a way of living, thinking, and being, that dissolves anxiety at the root. We'll explore that path later, but for now, understand this. Worry is not a mistake, it is a signal that we've lost our way, and the teachings of the Buddha are a compass pointing us home. You don't need to run from your anxiety, you need to see it clearly, because when the fog of illusion lifts, you realize something profound. The storm was never outside you, it was the way you perceived the world, and just like that, anxiety loses its grip. But if suffering is caused by craving, how do we live without desire? How do we act in the world? Love people, work, create, grow, without becoming attached. So now we know this much: suffering is real, it has a cause, and it can end. But how? What do we actually do when our minds spiral out of control, when our breath shortens, when anxiety keeps us up at night? The Buddha answered not with magic, not with empty promises, but with a clear path, a practical path, a human path, a path anyone can walk, if they walk with presence. It's called the Noble Eightfold Path, and it begins with one simple, radical shift, seeing the world as it truly is. But first, why is it called the middle way? Because before his enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama tried it all. He lived in luxury, palaces, silk, dancers, gold, and he left it behind. Seeking truth, he starved himself, punished his body, meditated until he collapsed in the forest. Neither extreme worked, both led to suffering, and so, he discovered something revolutionary. Peace is not found in indulgence, nor in denial, it's found in balance, in walking the middle way, with wisdom, with compassion, with mindfulness. So let's explore this path, step by step, not like a list to memorize, but like seeds to plant in the soil of your daily life. 1. Right view. Samadhi, not about beliefs, but about understanding, seeing that all things arise and pass, that suffering is part of life, but not the end of the story. Right view means looking at your anxiety and asking not, how do I get rid of this? But what is this teaching me? 2. Right intention, Samma Sankappa, your mind sets the tone for your day. Are you acting out of fear, out of craving, or out of kindness, simplicity, and letting go? Right intention isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest with yourself. Ask, what kind of world am I creating with my thoughts? 3. Right speech, Samavaka, words can wound, but they can also heal. Speak truthfully, speak kindly, speak mindfully, and yes, that includes the way you speak to yourself. So many of our worries grow louder, because we let the voice inside criticize, doubt, shame. Try this instead. Speak to your anxiety like a child who is scared, with patience and tenderness. 4. Right action, Samakamanta, do your actions lead to peace, or more chaos? This isn't about being moral for appearance, it's about aligning your behavior with your deeper values. When you lie, cheat, or act harshly, even in small ways, your inner world becomes unstable. but when your actions come from integrity, anxiety softens, because you're no longer at war with yourself. 5. Right livelihood, Samma Ajiva. This one's often overlooked, but it's crucial. Does your work nourish or drain you? Does it cause harm or bring benefit? You don't need to quit your job to live ethically, but you can bring mindfulness into how you earn, and how your work affects the world. A peaceful mind is easier to find when your work supports your values. 6. Right effort, Samma Vayama. This doesn't mean pushing harder, it means knowing where to apply your energy. Right effort is about watering the wholesome seeds, compassion, patience, joy, and gently letting the weeds of anger, greed, and worry wither. It's not about perfection, it's about gentle persistence, like tending a garden, day by day, breath by breath. 7. Right mindfulness, Samma Sati. This is the anchor. To live without anxiety, we must live here, in the now. Mindfulness is not something mysterious, it's attention, it's awareness, it's coming back to this moment, again and again, to the feel of your feet on the floor, to the breath moving in and out, to the sensations of life unfolding now, because worry only exists in stories about the future, but life is only ever lived in the present. 8. Right concentration, Samma Samadhi, and finally, stillness. This is not just about meditation, but about deep focus, the power of a mind that can rest, that can go beneath the surface waves and touch the ocean of peace within. When the mind is scattered, anxiety thrives, but when it is collected, it becomes clear, calm, grounded. Right concentration is like tuning an instrument, bringing your whole being into harmony. Together, these 8 limbs form not a ladder, but a circle. Each supports the others, each brings you deeper into presence. So when the winds of anxiety blow, you no longer panic, you walk steadily, because you have the path beneath your feet, and each step becomes a prayer, a quiet vow to live wisely, to live gently, to live awake. There's a saying in Zen, when the mind is nowhere, it is everywhere. Have you ever noticed this? You're washing the dishes, but your mind is reliving a conversation from 3 days ago. You're eating lunch, but you're already worrying about tomorrow's deadline, and when night falls, even in the silence of your bedroom, your mind keeps running, running after problems, running from fears, running, always running. But what if you could stop? What if, just for one breath, you could be here, not in the past, not in the imagined future, but in this breath, this sacred moment? That's the power of mindfulness. When the Buddha taught mindfulness, he didn't start with complicated rituals. He began with the breath. Why? Because the breath is always here, it's your lifelong companion. It arrives with your first cry, and leaves with your final sigh, but most of us ignore it. We treat it like background noise, until anxiety tightens our chest, or panic takes our breath away. In Buddhism, the breath is not just a physical process, it's a mirror of the mind. When you're anxious, your breath is shallow. When you're angry, it's sharp. When you're calm, it's deep and steady. And the beauty is, you don't have to fix your mind. You can simply return to the breath, and the mind follows. Let's not make this complicated. You don't need incense, candles, or silence. All you need is to pause. Try this now. Take one slow, conscious inhale. Feel the air entering your nostrils, expanding your chest. Now exhale, gently, fully, letting go. That's it. That's where peace begins. One mindful breath, then another, and another, like drops of water filling a bowl. Each breath softens the storm inside. Even modern science confirms it. When we breathe mindfully, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural calming response. Heart rate slows, blood pressure lowers, the mind clears. It's not magic, it's biology, and yet, it feels like a miracle, because suddenly, you're not lost in thoughts, you're not swallowed by fear, you're simply here. In Buddhism, mindfulness isn't just a stress tool, it's a way of being. It's the art of noticing, without judging, of feeling emotions, without drowning in them, of being fully alive, even in difficult moments. Imagine you're in a storm, the winds howl, the rain lashes your skin, but at the center of that storm, there's a still point. A quiet space untouched by the chaos. Mindfulness brings you to that center. You may still feel anxious, but you're no longer inside the anxiety, you're the observer, the witness, the mountain, not the weather. The beauty of this practice is that you don't have to escape the world to find peace. You can practice mindfulness while drinking tea, while brushing your teeth, while walking to the train. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the whole earth revolves." That's not poetry, that's a spiritual instruction, because when you're truly present, the mundane becomes sacred, time slows down, and life reveals its quiet magic. Let's be clear, mindfulness doesn't make problems disappear, but it changes your relationship with them. Instead of reacting automatically, you respond consciously. Instead of drowning in fear, you learn to float above it. When anxiety visits, you say, "Hello, I see you, you're not me, you're just a passing cloud, in the wide sky of awareness." And just like clouds, anxiety passes, but you remain, steady, open, alive. So now, the next time worry begins to tighten around your chest, don't fight it, don't run, just stop, feel your feet on the ground, feel the breath in your lungs, feel the life moving through you, because every inhale is a doorway, and every exhale, a letting go. Let go of control, let go of stories, let go of fear, and return to this one moment. Right here, right now, this is your refuge, this is your power. There's a silent truth we rarely speak. Much of our suffering is not because of what happens to us, but because of how tightly we hold on. We hold on to expectations, we grip to identities, we cling to people, to outcomes, to the illusion that we're in control, and the tighter we hold, the more it hurts when life inevitably changes. But what if freedom is not found in gaining more, but in letting go? Let's be honest. We cling because we're afraid of losing love, afraid of failure, afraid of the unknown. So we build walls, we replay old wounds, we micromanage our lives until there's no room left to breathe. But the Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. He called it upadana, attachment, grasping. It's like holding onto a rope that's burning our hands, and yet we refuse to let go, because we think the fall will kill us. But in truth, the fall is where we learn to fly. In Buddhism, there's one law that underlies everything, anicca, impermanence. Everything changes, everything passes, everything you love will one day transform. Your job, your youth, even your deepest relationships. This isn't meant to be depressing, it's meant to wake us up, because once we stop expecting permanence from a changing world, we stop being disappointed, we begin to live with grace. We learn to say, this moment is fleeting. Let me meet it fully, then let it go with love. Let's clear a common confusion. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it doesn't mean you don't care, it means you stop resisting life. It means releasing the illusion that you can control everything. It means opening your hands, so life can flow through you, rather than get stuck inside you. Letting go is an act of courage, it's trusting the river, even when you don't know where it leads. Let me tell you a story. Kisa Gautami was a mother. One day, her only child fell ill and died. She was crushed, refusing to accept the truth. She carried the child's body from house to house, begging, "Please, someone give me medicine to bring him back." People looked at her with pity and silence. Finally, someone said, "Go to the Buddha." She did. He listened, then gently said, "Go into the village, bring me a mustard seed. But only from a house that has never known death." Kisa rushed out with hope, but at every home, the answer was the same: "Yes, we have mustard seeds, but we have known death, too." By nightfall, she returned, empty-handed. But wiser, she understood, death touches every home, loss is not personal, it is part of the great rhythm of life, and in accepting this truth, she finally laid her child to rest. When we let go, we make room for peace, room for new beginnings, room for the present to arrive fully. You may have lost something you loved, you may be afraid of what comes next, but know this: every time you surrender, you step closer to freedom. You are no longer a prisoner of your past, nor a hostage of your expectations. You become vast, spacious, unshakable. Like the sky, you can now hold everything, and cling to nothing. Let's try something simple. Close your fist tightly, feel the tension. This is what clinging feels like. Now slowly open your hand, notice the release, the ease, the possibility. This is the essence of Buddhist surrender, not forced, not desperate, but gentle, wise, free. Imagine living your days with open hands. You love, without owning. You strive, without obsession. You face loss, not with panic, but with deep trust in life's unfolding. The Buddha said, you can only lose what you cling to. So the secret is not to never lose, but to love so fully, that even if it leaves, you remain whole. That is not weakness, that is awakening. So now we've walked through the storm of anxiety, we've learned to breathe, to be mindful, to surrender. But what is the final step? It is the deepest insight of all, that we were never bound to begin with. In the last chapter, we ventured through the storm of worry, we explored the art of letting go, and we learned to trust life's natural flow. But now, it's time to ask, what is it all for? What is the true result of this journey? Is it a life without pain? Is it a life without struggle? No, the goal is not to escape life, the goal is to fully live it. What if peace has always been here? What if, deep down, you've been whole all along? Buddhism teaches us that true freedom isn't about running away from life's challenges, it's about embracing them, with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. In fact, the Buddha himself said, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Coming home is not a physical journey, it's a spiritual one. It's the moment when we stop searching for peace in the world around us, and start realizing that peace is the very essence of who we are. For years, you may have felt like you were separate from everything, a tiny self trying to survive in a vast and unpredictable world. But in truth, the self we cling to is just an illusion. It's a collection of thoughts, memories, fears, and desires, a story we've created. And when we let go of the need to define ourselves by that story, we make room for the truth of who we really are. The Buddha called this true nature, tathata, the suchness of things. It's the stillness beneath the noise, the peace that exists beyond the chatter of the mind, and it is, and always has been, inside you. Now, let's take a moment together. Find a comfortable seat, place your hands on your lap, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out, feel the weight of your body sinking into the ground, let it all go. You don't need to do anything in this moment, no need to search, no need to fix, just be here, be present. This is home. When you are truly present, you are free, free from the past, free from the future, free from the chains of worry, free from the illusion of separation. You are whole, you are enough, you are already the peace you seek. The Buddha's teachings are simple, but profound: to live in the moment, to embrace life exactly as it is. And when you do this, when you stop running, when you stop clinging, you will feel the stillness of your own soul, you will return to your true self. Life, in its essence, is not about grand achievements or extraordinary moments. It is found in the simple act of living, a quiet morning, a shared laugh, a moment of connection. These are the moments of peace, these are the moments that bring us home. So, what is the final practice of freedom? It is living from the heart. When you practice mindfulness, when you let go of worry, when you embrace the flow of life with openness, you are living from a place of love. And in love, there is no fear. In love, there is no anxiety. There is only the deep knowing that everything is as it should be. As we conclude this journey together, remember, peace is not a destination. It is not something you find out there. It's something you awaken to, within. The storm of worry may still arise from time to time, but you now have the tools to face it. You now know that you can ride the waves with calmness and grace. And every time you return to the present moment, you come home. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for embracing the teachings of the Buddha. May you carry these teachings into your life with love, compassion, and wisdom. And as you continue your journey, remember, you are already home.